Welcome to Talking Truth Ministries, where our mission is to share the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the best of our ability. Our vision is to lead someone to the epitome of truth, Jesus Christ, who is the way, the truth, and the life. And he said that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And that's what it's all about, being free from the forces in this world that would lie, deceive, and ultimately try to destroy each and every one of us. So welcome to Phlatt Friday. If you haven't already, please subscribe, the like button, share this. Share this channel with family and friends. I'm fairly new at this and trying to improve as I go. It's a learning process. For some reason, I got a sore on the side of my tongue, so my talking may sound a little different tonight. But again, I said, welcome to Phlatt Friday, and I decided to just go ahead and go through some of the more popular memes that I've collected. Now, obviously, memes don't prove anything. I'm not trying to prove anything here at all, but they do share some good information. And there are lots of people who have done experiments and created these memes from these experiments. And the whole point is to get you thinking that maybe the world isn't what we've been taught our whole lives. I'm thinking of this as like the flat earth revival. I think this might be a key to winning a lot of people that have been turned away from the Bible and from Christianity because of science. And we all know our friendly scientists always tell the pseudo truth, if you will. And maybe if people could discover the truth of the world and learn about the lies and really seek out truth and research what's going on, maybe I'm hoping that we could lead many to Christ before the last days. And we are nearing the end of time as this world has known it. I truly believe that time is getting short, and if you don't know Christ, now's the time to learn who he is. So anyway, so we're gonna begin with our meme journey, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. I found downloaded a few new ones. I've got hundreds of them on my computer, and some of them I may have shared in a previous episode. If I have, forgive me. If not, great. So the Earth is not hurling through space, and even the Egyptians knew this. The Earth is unmoving. The fixed constellations of stars are attached to the firmament. The firmament rotates around our flat Earth. I think having a sore on your tongue right by where your teeth come together. Anyway, so if you look up in the upper right, or the upper left, it's showing how the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid in Giza, line up to the constellation Orion perfectly. In fact, I listened to a program I shared on my Facebook page. It's not a program, but a video clip talking about this archaeologist. Nobody knows in all of archaeology and science and history who built the pyramids, and it goes into the how they were made precisely aligned with true north, and that the blocks are so precise and perfectly put together that it defies human logic. We haven't even got the technology today to build them like this. Supposedly, mainstream science wants to say that just plain old humans put these 2 million plus blocks of 50 plus tons of stone together perfectly without any kind of modern equipment. Yeah. If you believe that, I got a pyramid I'll sell you. But if you look at the images on the bottom, it shows how the one on the left basically shows how the constellations rotate around the Earth in the sky, and then the one in the middle kind of gives the how the firmament may display them, and then of course the one on the right is if I'm not mistaken, that's a picture oh, what do you call it when they slow the speedway down and just take pictures, still shot photography, where it can show us how it tracks the rotation of the stars around the center pole star. And they said the Earth moves 1.6 million miles per day without any changes in the constellations. Now, isn't that amazing? They all this movement, and I like this character. This is the guy from Spider-Man. But yeah, right. So we are moving in 4 different directions at unimaginable speeds, and we have been since the dawn of time, and at least since recorded history, which goes back about 10,000 years, um, the constellations are all the same. How does that work? Exactly. Research. Now, this image here, so the moon supposedly reflects the light off the sun and then onto Earth. Now, if you really know anything about physics, you take and I'm going to do an experiment on this when I get a chance. I got to find a really shiny spherical object, like maybe oh, I think I have a chrome, or not a chrome, a big steel bearing, about an inch. I'll have to see if I can do an experiment on what happens when you shine a bright light on a sphere. It doesn't light the whole thing up. It's going to refract the light in all different directions, and you'll have one hot spot, but the whole sphere is not going to light up like that. And then to reflect it back onto the Earth as bright as it is, if you know anything about the inverse square law, the way it's been explained, that I've heard it explained, is with the amount of lumens, or the amount of luminosity that the Earth receives from the moon, that's received on Earth, if you do the reverse of that, the inverse square law, but it'll be backwards, going back towards the light source. By the time you got to the moon, because every time you half the distance, you it's 4 times brighter. And so the closer you get, it's going to exponentially get brighter. By the time you got to the moon will be brighter than the sun. Yeah, right. Now, this one talks about some interesting dates in history. 1915, NACA was founded, and I think that was the very first shoot, I'm not sure what NACA is, to be honest. I should have looked that up. I forgot that was on here. So let's look up and see what NACA is. National Aeronautics, not aeronautics like NASA, it has something to do with this. No, it's not going to show up on here. 1923, I'll skip that one. It has something to do with aeronautics and space, when airplanes first started. 1923, Disney was founded. 1928, Admiral Byrd starts exploring Antarctica. 1936, JPL was founded. 1954, Disney works with von Braun. Now, von Braun would be Werner von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist who was brought to the United States after World War II in something called Operation Project Paperclip. Look it up. I think it's I don't know, it's Project or Operation Paperclip, regardless, that was a program by the American government to bring over Nazi scientists, because they had a lot of technology and a lot of information, a lot of knowledge that we didn't have, brought them here and put them in places of importance. Von Braun, well, I'll get to that. So in 1956, Byrd finishes in Antarctica. So if you get a chance, look up Admiral Byrd on YouTube when he gives this interview on the Longener, oh, it's got a weird name to this program. He gives an interview about his trip to Antarctica. If I can find the the video, I'll post it on this channel, or the link at least. But he went to Antarctica, did all this exploring, came back, gave this interview talking about there's all this land out there that hasn't been touched by humankind, and it's out past Little America in a region of Antarctica, way out past the South Pole, whatever he means by that. It's got all these resources and all this and all that, and then he comes back, and all of a sudden, um, they uh, they they stop they stop all exploration of Antarctica, and then NASA is founded, and when in all of that, they started launching missiles, nuclear missiles, or some high-powered missiles. There's talk in the flat Earth community that nukes don't exist. I was in the Air Force and guarded airplanes that supposedly had nukes and missiles and all that. So I'm not sure I'm on board with that. I'm not saying it's not true because I didn't actually see nuclear material, but I did see the missiles. So I don't know. But anyways, regardless, they fired these missiles up and were exploding them in the air. And then right after that, the Antarctica Treaty was established, forbidding anybody from independently exploring, in fact, independently going below the 60th degree parallel south. And it's was signed by every major power, superpower, world power nation at the time. They all agreed on it, even Russia. Well, it was the Soviet Union at the time, and the Koreans and China and all of them agreed not to go there. Why? What were they doing when they were shooting up these things? There's Operations Fishbowl and Operations Dominic. That's what they're called. Check that out. Fishbowl and Dominic means of the Lord. So could it be Operations Fishbowl of the Lord, where they were trying to did they find the firmament? Were they trying to penetrate it to see? Is that why nobody can go to Antarctica? Because they don't want nobody else to know that there is a boundary and that we can't leave this earth? Is that why all of a sudden NASA is promoting going into outer space? You know, director Stanley Kubrick meets with NASA right after that. Now, mind you, I don't know if I said this, but NASA was founded in 58 with Werner von Braun as part of the leadership, not in charge of it, I forget. But anyways, this Nazi rocket scientists trying to put in charge of NASA. Now Stanley Kubrick meets with NASA, and then 68, space 2001: A Space Odyssey was released, and 69, all of a sudden Apollo 11 goes to the moon. And then Apollo's 14 and 15 and 71 and 72 is Apollo 16 and 17. All these supposedly land on the moon. And I'm going to go through some of the moon stuff when I get, probably on another program if it's not covered in any of these memes. And then 1981, the Masonic television begins, MTV. So there's a lot of the majority of the astronauts are Freemasons. Freemasonry is involved in this somehow. They are the ones that are seeking knowledge. If you go through history, there's these secret societies have all been out trying to find the secret knowledge that Satan tried to give humans at the beginning of time, and they weren't able to possess it because God didn't allow them to. And in fact, part of one of the many reasons for the flood during Noah's time was because fallen angels had given humans unauthorized knowledge. I'll just put it that way. So, and that's for a whole nother show. I'm not going to talk about that. Look it up if you get a chance. Freemasons and their knowledge they're seeking. So now here we go. We talk about NASA. After all this time, supposedly the greatest achievement of mankind of going to the moon, they lost, in quotes, 14,000 reels of science data from the moon landing. Well, the fake moon landing. Accidentally. Yeah, they lost it. Yeah, right. If they even ever had it or it was destroyed. Kind of like the videos from the January 6th committee. All that testimony. We can't find it. It's gone. Yeah, right. Now here's what I was talking about the moon. So the moon is allegedly reflecting sunlight. Again, if this was a true sphere with light shining on it, it would have one hot spot. That's all you'd see. Because the light wouldn't be hitting it and reflecting back straight like this. It would be going out in all directions. Just the surface that is parallel or perpendicular to you would be the only spot that the light you would see the reflection of. But then you got this supposed NASA image of the moon, and it's not reflecting sunlight. And this bottom image is a joke. I mean, the top one may be a real picture of the moon, but this bottom one, no. For one thing, this isn't what it looks like, but yeah, I've shown the meme before. If that was the image from behind the moon, then why does the image of the Earth on the moon make the moon look like it's just this little dinky circle off in the distance? How stupid do they think we are? Heliocentrism is a cult. Heliocentrism is the belief that the Earth is the center of the solar system, or not the Earth, the sun. And all these planets magically stay around it, spiraling through space at infinite speeds. When it's impossible if you think about it. Flat Earth is the truth. If you look at your senses, your common sense tells you when you walk outdoors. Now this image on the bottom is pretty cool. I'm not, yeah, but if you look outside, use your common sense. I mean, yes, the Earth isn't perfectly flat. We have hills and mountains and valleys and gullies and holes and stuff like that. But it's a topographically flat plane. It there's no measurable curvature. Where obviously you in the land part of it is hard to determine that, but you go out in water, the great bodies of water always lay perfectly flat when they're at rest, not counting storms and waves and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's no curvature. No curvature. Here we go. Let's look at this IS. Now at the very top here, oops, I get out there. Very top here is the ISS. It's supposedly, and I say supposedly, 100 yards long. Number one, there is no video footage of that being assembled. Again, it's one of these great feats of mankind, supposedly, and nobody took a video of them putting it together. I never even heard of it until it was all there. Well, I'll use the word supposedly. Now, a Boeing 777, which is a huge airplane, is 80 yards long, so it's 20 yards shorter than the ISS. So, and then we got the football field down there. So, can anyone explain how it is possible to see the ISS from 254 miles away? And if you look at it, it's got even less, mass to it, I guess, or more. It just looks like the stringly long thing where at least the airplane's got this big fat body. You can see the ISS from 254 miles away. If we can barely spot an airplane that's only 7 miles away. Look up at the sky at an airplane when it's in flight at full altitude. You can just barely see it. It's a speck in the air. and it's smaller than the ISS. And the ISS is, well, let me see, I don't know, 40, 50 times, I don't know, my math isn't really with me today, but 254 miles away, you're gonna see something skinnier up in the sky, flying at supposedly 17,000 miles per hour with hardly, if you look at that, does it look like again, when we're talking about reflection, supposedly you're seeing the sun reflect off it. Well, look at all the different angles. If a flat surface is not pointed at you, just take a mirror. You could demonstrate this to yourself in your bathroom. If the mirror is not pointed at you, you're not going to see the reflection of anything. Well, if the mirror is not pointed at you, so whatever's reflecting, the light's going to reflect back in the other direction. You're going to see whatever's, um, but anyways, with all the different angles, these things, and I'm not explaining this right, but with all the different angles, light is not going to reflect as bright as a star back to Earth, 200 and some miles away. Yeah, it's a joke. There is no space station up there. What it is, I've heard speculations that there's these airplanes, or not speculations, but I've heard allegations that there's airplanes, specialized planes at different bases that are scheduled to fly up there to mimic what the space station would look like. Now, why would they do this? $80 million or 80, yeah, $80 million a day, billions of dollars annually. That's kind of an incentive to get the money just to do that, to fake it. You know what I mean? They got to rip us off somehow. So the Earth does not move. Now here's how the sun moves. It's called the analemma. It kind of does this figure eight in the sky. This is all time-lapse photography. That's what I was trying to say earlier, time-lapse photography. And this is kind of how the moon moves and the stars move in a circular motion. The Earth doesn't. I mean, look at this. This is cool. Now, I'm in Michigan. So up north is Mackinac Island. And all around, now Mackinac Island's 8 miles around, and I've talked about this from a different perspective as far as the distance, talking about the curvature. But according to the curvature formula, I should not be able to see the beach of Mackinac Island from Mackinac City, which is about 7 miles apart, which you can clearly see. But along the beach, all the way around the island, we'll see people that have stacked stones like this, and if the earth was moving as much, we wouldn't have this much, there wouldn't be as this still. Come on, think about it, common sense. Gravity's not that good. No, it can't, it's fake, but now we got a meme here. Matthew McConaughey. He's a great, oh, he gets memed a lot. He says, I trust science, not claims from religious men. Really? Have you met Jesuit priest Jorge, I don't know how to spell it, Georges Lemaitre, inventor of the Big Bang? Hey, he was a scientist. He was a Jesuit priest scientist who invented the Big Bang. Look it up. It's a true story. Yeah. Did you know most of the observatories around the world are owned by the Vatican? Interesting. And what they're looking for, supposedly looking for ET life. And that's a whole nother story that I won't get into now. If Earth was spinning, this guy could stay right here for 12 hours and land on the other side of the planet. Does the air move with the rotation of the Earth? No. Explain the lack of 1,000 mile per hour wind at the equator. Yes. Explain surface winds in all directions. Rotation debunked. If the Earth was spinning, there's either going to be all the wind is always going to spin in the right direction if the Earth is stuck to the Earth, if the air is stuck to the Earth, or if it's not, then you're going to have at the equator 1,000 miles of 1,000 miles per hour winds. You can't have it both ways. And then the other thing is, and I don't know if there's a meme for that on here, but this is something that occurred to me. If the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, obviously at the North Pole, it's probably not spinning at the very, I mean, you're just turning a circle. So the rotation up there, um, let's go a mile from the North Pole. It's going to be really slow because it's got a smaller circle to go around versus the 24,000 down here all at the same amount of time. So if you're taking off from, let's go with Alaska. We'll just go with Alaska. Airport in Alaska, going straight south to Ecuador on a north-south runway. How are you going to move sideways? How are you going to increase your sideways speed to catch up with the rotation of the, even if you're, let's say you're flying, you're caught in with the motion of the earth, you're still in the momentum of, how you were, you're caught up in the momentum of the earth. How are you going to increase your speed if you're not connected to what caused the momentum in the first place? Once you lose contact with the force that causes the initial movement, um, then you're going to lose you're going to lose the drag of that, the momentum from that. So it's going to speed up, and you're going to be, so it's going to be like you're going to be going this speed, and the Earth is going to be going like this. You're never going to be able to go sideways and catch up with that. Or if you're going from south to north, how are you going to slow down? You couldn't land on a north-south runway, but you can because the Earth isn't moving. Here's this amazing picture that I just had to save this. It was on Facebook, earth.com. I've been getting hammered with all these space images, space.com, earth.com, scientist this and scientist that, and showing me all these fantastic images of outer space. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? Right around Christmas time, they capture the cosmic Christmas tree. Isn't that so pretty? Oh, yeah, CGI is great. Look at, they got looks like a little angel at the top of the tree and all these Christmas bulbs. How freaking stupid do they think we are? But unfortunately, there's a lot of freaking stupid people out there that believe that this is a real picture of space. Seriously, it's not even funny. Now, in this image, this is a great Facebook group. It's called Flat Earth Research. They're not like some of the other ones I was on and left because everybody just, they want to argue and debate, and you get a lot of trolls on it. This one just, so far all I've seen is just, memes, but, or not just memes, but information. Um, but it makes you think. So in this image, now if we look at the sun here in the middle, doesn't look like that it's that far away. Look at the sun, look at the clouds. They're really bright, these hot spots right close. If you look, and if the image is farther, you notice it wouldn't be as bright farther out you go. So in this image, we have what's called, he spelled that wrong, crepuscular rays in perspective. The angle of the rays demonstrate by basic trigonometry the fact that the light source, our sun, is local and relatively small. So crepuscular rays are these angular rays. If this was coming from 93 million miles away, you would not get this. They would all be parallel rays. They would all come straight in. But it was really, like I said, if you triangulate this, you'll see that the sun is really not that far above the earth. The snaking design of the river becomes smaller as it heads toward the line representing the limit to our vision, otherwise known as the horizon. So the horizon is not some physical, what people think where it's curving over and you can't see over the hump of the earth anymore. No, it's just the limit of your vision. You can only see so far. You can't see forever, which tells you that stars and so-called planets, those are fake too. They're just wandering stars. You can't see them that are trillions of miles or thousands of light years away because they would be beyond the angular size that your eyes could see, and the brightness would not be, it will be too dim to see this far. Light does not travel forever, and as it travels, it spreads out. Just take a flashlight out in your backyard one night, unless you got a really powerful spotlight, you might need a football field. But eventually that light is going to spread out and become so weak that it's not going to be able to travel any further. Light does not travel forever. So those, people that in schools, and I don't blame the teachers, you're only repeating what they were taught. that say, well, some of these stars, scientists may say, some of the stars you see may have died millions of years ago, but the light is just now reaching us. Oh, that's a bunch of hogwash. The stars are in the firmament that God put in the heavens. Not that far. Oh, here we go. NASA's Mission Control Center in 1969. Look at this. Just isn't that amazing? They had moon landing technology, but in 19 or 2020, so primitive, but we don't even have moon landing technology. Hmm. What do they say that our modern smartwatch has more computing capability that all of the computers that supposedly sent men to the moon? Now we got computers so massive, quantum computing and cray supercomputers that can, just about process not quite quick as a human thought, but they're getting pretty quick. But we can't figure out how to get to the moon. We can't figure that trick, all that stuff out. No moon landing technology anymore. Amazing. See, let's look at this one. This one on the left isn't very good. It was a screenshot off my phone. Um, says the Eagle has landed. 2 men walk on the moon. That was that big headline. It says on July 21st, 1969, Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon, where he spoke his legendary words, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That same day, this picture was in the newspaper. Now, let me see. A quick reminder, it was a 3-day flight back, and pictures had to be developed in those days. They didn't have digital, at least that we know of. And if they did, it was pretty crappy digital technology. I mean, they could send a man to the moon. They had digital technology. You'd think it would be better than that. And by the way, who took the picture of him stepping on the moon? Wouldn't the guy holding the camera be the first guy on the moon? Huh? Did they have a drone back then? Um, was what I don't know. Who took the picture? Interesting. So let's look at this one on the right. Let me see if I can make this the print is kind of small. I gotta move me out of the way. It says brainwashed globers on the right column, humans with normal mind on the left column. My observations, it feels like I'm not moving. NASA, you're moving over 400,000 miles an hour as well as in multiple directions, but you can't feel it or detect it. My observation, it looks like the sun moves across the sky. NASA, no, we move around the sun. My observations, it looks like the stars spin around the sky. No, we spin under the stars. It looks like the moon gives off light. The moon only reflects light. The stars look different than the sun. The stars are just suns too, but you can't see or prove it, so just accept it. Nobody's been there. Nobody's really seen what they look like, except for through telescopes. This was a good one. Pressurized gas always needs a container. So let me give you a little context of something like that if you're not sure what that means. Your propane tank for your grill, that's a container. Propane is a pressurized gas. Without the container, propane would fill whatever space is available. It's just going to dissipate everywhere. So the Earth, supposedly this ball of water, dirt, and air is surrounded by a vacuum, but the air is pressurized and isn't sucked off into space, even though there's no solid container holding it in. Oops, I skipped one. That's all right. But it gas, oh, it actually sticks to really big spheres without one though, supposedly. Right. I got to back up. Water always finds its flat level. If you ever go to the lakes, big lakes, or well, any lake, well, even a mud puddle, if you look at it, looks flat, but it's not enough of distance to prove anything. But if you go to like big lakes, that are at least 3 miles, more than 3 miles across, or the ocean's a better one, it looks flat. And if you see something going off into the distance and it looks like it disappears over a curve, it's not disappearing over a curve, it's just going beyond your line of sight. Or there might be little waves or whatever hiding it from the angle, because the angular size is kind of like Dave Weiss says, can my thumb cover my face? Well, no, but if you go like this, oh my, now it's covering my face. Same size thumb, same size face. No curve. Well, maybe a little curve. But so if you see a boat going over the horizon, get out even your phone has great zoom optics. Maybe not professional, but you can zoom it back into view, get a telescope, get some binoculars. The best one is the Nikon P900 or 1000 cameras. I don't have one because they're very expensive, but I've seen video of people who've used them and they're pretty cool. So yeah, but it said, so NASA says it actually occurs, but only for big spheres, and you can't observe it yourself. Yeah, okay. Can't have it both ways. What boats can't disappear over that little horizon if it's too big that we can't see the curve. You can either see the curve or you can't see the curve, or there's no curve. Okay, let's go on. Nature abhors a vacuum and tries to fill it. That's it's one of the laws of thermodynamics. I'm not a scientist. I don't know a lot of I know some science terminology. I don't always know exactly how to explain it, but that's a common understanding among at least basic science in school, high school. But except for the vacuum of space, though, it's really powerful space vacuum that only sucks when convenient. Interesting. Like I said, what's holding everything onto the Earth? Don't say gravity, because gravity, they don't even know what it is. Just look up the electromagnetic force, density, and buoyancy. That'll explain everything better than I can. You have to look it up yourself. I'm not giving you all the answers. I'm just telling you stuff to look up, because I don't know all the answers. I'm still learning a lot of this, and I've been at this for 8 years. Sunlight feels warm when I'm close to a heater. Oh, no, I didn't read that right. Okay. Sunlight feels warm like I'm close to a heater. Okay. It's actually farther away than you could ever picture or travel, but we know exactly how far it is. I'm not sure. Okay. The sun's closer than it looks, or what they tell you. It looks closer than what they tell you is what I mean. The stars seem to cross over the same places they did thousands of years ago, like the pyramids. It only looks like they actually all moved. It only looks like that. They've actually all moved millions of miles in different directions. Okie dokie. My camera can see farther than the supposed little curvature allows. That's a mirage. That's their favorite answer, a mirage. But a mirage doesn't look as quite as clear and concise. It's it can waver, it can fuzz, it's going to inverse the image, it's going to raise it above. It's not always going to be at eye level. So no, it's not a mirage. Sun rays spread out like they come from a local source. Again, that's a mirage too, apparently. The earth looks flat. It's a sphere. Trust us and look how good we are at CGI. So any image you see of the earth, and I might even get to a meme about that. There are no photographs of Earth. Except, well, okay. There's a one that they faked, and it's from a near Earth orbit. You can go up. You can go up 70, 80 miles. I don't know how high the dome is, but there's a video called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And it explains this one image that they faked to make it look like the Earth was a globe. I'll have to see if I can find that. I'll have to post that video. Oh, Freemasons. They know it's flat. Do you? This is their little ceremonial hall. That's where I always thought they always had the black and white square tile on the floors. But look at the firmament. Look at that firmament with the all-seeing eye, the eye of providence, the eye of Satan in the place of God up there. Because they worship Lucifer, you know. Masons do. At least the ones who are high enough to know that they're worshiping Satan. I'm not saying all Freemasons are Satanists and all that, but just read Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, and it talks about how they worship Lucifer. Okay. Oops, I gotta move, man. I'm in the way again. So the equator proves flat Earth. It is unmistakable that the sun's heat is most intense along the equator. This global perspective is ironically the perfect demonstrator. The middle of their graphic is shown is okay, they didn't write. It's red, meaning hot. Okay, the middle of the graphic is hot, shown in red. While the north and south are colder in blue. We can see it, we experience it, we know that it is true. This is exactly how it is displayed on a flat Earth map. Yet when the globe is tilted on its axis, they get caught in their own trap. Because the equator would no longer be perpendicular to the sun's bright light. The tilt of this wobbly, spinning, floating ball makes it no longer sit upright. Yeah, so the equator would not get the amount of sunlight supposedly, but the way the Earth truly is with its flat Earth, the where's my cursor? This, can you see that? The Earth travels around the center like this and slowly makes its way out to the outside in the winter, and then slowly makes its way inside for the summer, and it just goes back and forth, and the moon does the same thing. How does it do that? Good question. You have to ask God, because he's the one that put it into motion. And that's in the Bible. He set the sun, moon, and stars in motion in the sky. Scientism. There's our good friends. Oh, you got Bill Nye, the lion science guy, old bonehead in the middle, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. They are a fanatical cult that demands blind faith and unproven theories as absolute truth. You know, it takes more faith to be a scientist than it does to be a Christian, because they believe everything came from nothing. Now, we believe everything was made from nothing when God took that nothing and spoke it into existence, into something. But at least a God, a being, an infinitely intelligent, incredibly infinitely powerful being who has always existed, is more believable to have been the cause of everything than nothing. Science has proven that life has to come from life. Our I'm not using the word planet, our Earth is finally made, finally designed macroorganism. I don't know if macroorganism is the right word, but you get the idea. The everything was finally tuned to exist. And saying that this happened by accident would be like saying the old tornado going through a junkyard and out pops a Boeing 747. Sorry, not gonna happen. Here again is our Helios religion, heliocentricity. Helios, the sun in the center. You got all these planets named after Roman gods, except Earth. Earth just means land in the original. And yeah, how about that? The Bible only uses the word planet one time in the King James, and there's one other translation that uses the word planet, but it's from the Hebrew word mazalah, which means constellations. So planet comes from the word aster, planetes, something like that, which means wandering stars. They were the bright lights in the sky that didn't follow set pattern of the constellations, and they had their own, you know, movements around um in conjunction with the sun somehow. And yeah, wandering stars. Wandering stars. If you read Book of Genesis, God said he placed the sun, the moon, the stars in the firmament. It doesn't talk about any planets. Sun, moon, stars. Sun, moon, star. And then it says the sun is the great light to light the day, and the moon is the reflector of I mean, no, he didn't say the reflector of the great light. He said the moon is the lesser light. Lesser light. Where's my phone? Let me see what that word light is in the Hebrew. I'm going to look in my Strong's Concordance. Let's just see what it means by the word light. And you're just gonna have to bear with me because this is a free app for a concordance on my phone, and it has ads. All right, oh man, I'm in the wrong chapter. Let's go back to chapter 2, chapter 1, down to, let's go with the fourth day. Where's the fourth day? Oh, come on, where are you at? Okay, let there be lights. Let's see what the word lights means. It's moar or mayor, a luminous body or luminary that is a light. Doesn't say a reflection. It's a luminary or something that causes light to be. Let me look up the word. Let's see what the word luminary. A luminous body. I'm going to hold on, where'd that go? I'm going to screenshot that and I'm gonna save that. That's a good one. I'm gonna make a meme out of that. Lights. All right, let's do that. I'm gonna make a meme out of that. Strong's what the concordance says about that word. Specifically a chandelier. Chandeliers don't reflect. Sorry. Sorry, Bill. Sorry, Neil. You guys are idiots. Your lights ain't too bright yourselves. Eh. Okay. So lights in the sky. Sun, moon, stars. Lights in the sky within the firmament. Okay. Onward and upward. Born in the military might not understand that. So, oh, here we go. The electromagnetic field. And I can't see that slide because this thing here is in the way, but oh, come on. Well, we can do this. Let's do this for a second. That way I can. Oh, the electromagnetic force. Okay. Let's go back here. And I can't read none of that stuff, but basically, it's like a battery system, if you will. The sun and the moon, the anode and the cathode. The earth is the ground, basically. Maybe that's why it's called the ground. And the electricity flows like this, and everything is like it's been proven that everything is electromagnetically charged somehow. The less of a charge you have, I guess you could say the lighter you are, you might not be pulled to the ground as much. I'm not explaining this very well, but again, that's basically the force that holds everything down, holds everything together. There's an experiment I've heard Dave Weiss talk about, and I'm gonna figure. He says he recommends getting a drone and putting a copper wire and flying it up as high as you got. Well, I don't have a drone, but I got to thinking, a helium balloon will go up as high as you let it, and if I tie a copper wire to it and then attach it to the ground somewhere and let it go up I don't know if you're supposed to let it touch the ground or not. Might have to put a rock on it or something to let it. And he says, don't touch it because you might electrocute yourself. So I'll have to get me an amp meter of some sort or a voltmeter, some kind of gauge to see what happens. Because I mean, I like to believe people, but if I can do my own experiment, I will. Like the whole curvature. Um, I went to Mackinac City. My wife and I go there just about every year, and I took my telescope and then couldn't figure out how to use it. And I realized I had left one of the eyepieces at home. So everything was upside down and I couldn't make it work. I finally figured it out, but I took some binoculars. But regardless, without even a without a uh something that magnifies the image, you see Mackinac Island, you can see 7 miles, you can see a white strip that's the beach. It shouldn't be there. It should be anyways, off topic. I don't even know why I went there. Anyways. Oh, experiments. I want to do an experiment. There's some experiments I'm going to try that I can do that's inexpensive. A lot of experiments can be expensive. So I'm going to see what I can do though. Okay. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true, like most of us have for most of our lives, or the other is to refuse to accept what is true, which most people still don't do. This is not an easy this flat earth journey is not easy to accept. I don't know, I guess for me it wasn't hard because I always kind of was suspicious, inquisitive. My ninth grade math teacher, and I didn't really think much of it. I mean, that's 40 some years ago, he said the earth was flat. But I never forgot he said that, Mr. McCullum. Um, I don't remember. I wish I could find him. I'd like to ask him about that. But he said the earth was flat. And I think he told the whole class. Doesn't matter. I heard him say it. Didn't mean much then. I was just a young kid. I didn't give a crap about that kind of stuff. I didn't give a crap about math. I still don't. I'm not very good at it. But I just always maybe that's always stuck in the back of my mind. Okay, because you look and things I always wondered if things are the way they appear to be or the way we're told they are. I've always been kind of curious about that, just not just the flat earth stuff, but just about different things. So I've always been one to be willing to entertain um, ideas that aren't mainstream, what everybody wants to stick their head in the ground and believe. I mean, and sometimes there are things that are just crazy and they're not true. But and I had an experience where this guy who claimed to be a prophet from God and he was this and that, and I didn't know the Bible and wasn't really a active Christian at the time. I claimed to be a Christian and I knew a couple verses in the Bible. So he basically and I don't think his intention was to fool me because he just didn't know either. And he would really believed all this. And regardless to say, once I realized how wrong he was, I told myself I'm never going to be fooled like that ever again. So, I read the Bible through 34 times since then. This was in 1998. And I says, I'm going to learn stuff. I mean, I was pretty smart then, but maybe not smart in things that were very important. Um, so I wasn't going to do that again. Nobody's going to fool me again. So, anyways, enough about me. So, here's another one. I think this is all Freemasons adhere to the heliocentric globe model. I don't know what that, anyways, but Pythagoras. Then you got Copernicus, Galileo, Kepler, Newton. They're all Freemasons, and they all have their secrets, and they all have their Okay, let's look at this, the square and compass. They are, then there's sacred geometry, the great architect of the universe and gravity. The three G's, and you look at G. So sacred geometry, I'm not too big on. The great architect of the universe is a fancy name for Lucifer. Then gravity is how they explain, Newton seeing the apple fall, and I know there's more to it than that. And then there's Newtonian gravity, and then there's Einsteinian gravity, and the theories of relativity and all this nonsense, trying to make this make sense, when if they would just use their eyes and their common sense, and I truly believe that they actually believed what they promoted, but I also think they were deceived by the king of deceivers, the father of lies, and his um followers, in order to try to deceive mankind and try to turn them away from the creator. Okay, next. How long have I been doing this? I guess I should probably wrap this up. Oh, here's what I want to, yeah, here we go. Talking about this is what a sphere looks like when it reflects light. Right here, see, all you get is this little bitty dot. It's not going to look like this. This looks more like it's being lit from the inside. Nobody knows what the moon's made of. It's definitely not made of green cheese, and it's not made of special space dust, you know. Oh, this guy's so proud standing by his little globe of the moon. Yeah, doesn't happen like that. That's not how any of this works. So I'm going to stop right there. Thank you for watching. Please share. Research flat Earth. Research it. Don't use the word flat Earth if it's too. Use geocentrism. Use stationary flat planism if you have to, if it sounds better. But research what is true and get away from and depart from what is false. Again, Jesus said, you shall know the truth shall make you free. So we're not in this to try to be a bunch of crazy whack jobs who want to look stupid. I mean, none of us wants to look stupid, but we don't like being lied to, and we want to know what the truth is. And and it's time to stop hiding and sticking our heads in the sand with everything that's going on in the world. If everybody would understand this truth, that there's no place to go, God is in charge of all this, because obviously, if there's nothing else out there that we can at least access to, I'm sure there's, I mean, you got the firmament, there's water above the firmament, it says God's throne's up there. We ain't getting there until God takes us there. So we're stuck here until then. And if everybody would realize that, I think people will get along better. But see, Satan and the enemy does not want us to get along. That's why there's so much division in this country and in this world, and so much hatred, and so much crazy nonsense, transgenderism, um, all this political garbage, and all these lies in Washington, D.C. and Hollywood. All this are trying to steal men's souls. And your soul is who you are. You are a soul that lives in a body that uses a spirit. And you can be inhabited by God's Holy Spirit if you're born again. Then you can get out of this place one day into a much greater realm. I think once God is done with this age, this epic history, that I think he's going to probably, I don't know, expand the firmament, remove the firmament, combine everything together. I mean, I don't believe God's throne is physically above the firmament. I think it's metaphorically speaking of probably another dimension or whatever. But we're stuck here until God says we're done. He's done with it. And it's better to know what we have to work with. And then if we could all come together, this world would be a better place. But we all know it's not, because we have the enemy of our souls trying to deceive everybody to destroy us. And don't let Satan destroy you. You can rise above this. Believe in Jesus Christ. He is the creator. He's the one that has everything in his hands. He knows when the time is right. There's nothing happening that he doesn't know about. He allows things to happen to further his purpose. So when you see bad things happen, it's not that God's forgotten you or he wants bad things to happen. He needs certain things to happen, not for his sake, but for our sake, to move us in the right direction. So anyways, that's enough for tonight. Thank you for watching. God bless and good night. Oops.